Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories tonight. Suicide bombers attack University of Maiduguri in Borno State. A professor of veterinary medicine, 3 others killed. Bring Back Our Girls campaigners take a break from the Unity Park in Abuja. Join in a guided tour to the northeast. Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo recommends special development status for the Niger Delta, also wants community to look beyond oil. And Turkish cargo plane crashes in Kyrgyzstan, over 30 killed. Just to let you know that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You can also have the eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Nigeria's Vice President says the Niger Delta region deserves to be accorded the status of a special development zone. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, made these remarks at the palace of the traditional ruler of Baramatu Kingdom during his visit to Delta State as part of a confidence-building tour of some Niger Delta communities. Professor Oshibajo was confident in the region's ability to overcome its current challenges and attain its full potential.
A jubilant and expectant crowd at the palace of the monarch of Baramatu Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Aketekpe Agadagba, in Delta State, as they await the arrival of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, who is in the state on a confidence-building tour. Also present here are members of the State Executive Council, traditional rulers, women groups clad in different attires, and representatives of youth organizations, among others. Eventually, the Vice President, in the company of the Governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, as well as the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku, arrives and goes straight to the palace of his host, where he exchanges pleasantries and also observes the traditional breaking of the kola nut.
Is on. Is on. Delta. Nigeria.
Thereafter, the Vice President goes into a closed-door meeting with the traditional ruler and some representatives of the people. Speaking at the end of the meeting, the spokesman of the monarch expressed optimism that the visit would usher in a new beginning.
We are ready for dialogue that will take us away from the backwaters of underdevelopment to fiscal advancement and education that will create and increase our value.
The president of the Ijaw Youth Council also welcomes the visit, but he has some requests to present.
We appeal strongly, sir, that going forward, because we are building confidence, let federal government stop persecuting Ijaw leaders.
For the Governor of Delta State and the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, the Vice President's visit couldn't have come at a better time.
Without peace, the dreams that we have in terms of the Maritime University, in terms of the gas center in Ogedengwe, in terms of all the fairly huge job potentials that oil companies can bring, will be a mirage.
There can be no better time in our kingdom, in the state, than now. because we need that peace so that things will move.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, takes to the podium and sues for peace from the people of the region, optimistic that the challenges facing the region can be surmounted if the aggrieved groups sheath their swords.
The Niger Delta is a special place, a special economic zone for this nation. And so we must treat it as a special development zone. In another 20 to 30 years, our oil will not be as precious as it is today. And that is reality. We must be smart. We must act intelligently, and we must act in time. We have a window of opportunity to use the oil to develop our people. This kingdom, a place like this, should not look just like this. It should be better. It should look like anywhere in Dubai, anywhere in the very developed countries of the world. There must be resources. There must be revenues. If the revenues do not come, we are deceiving ourselves and we are telling ourselves stories. Revenues can only come when we are sure that there is peace. Peace is the way of progress. And I agree with you that peace must come with justice. But even justice itself requires peace to be effective.
The Vice President ends his visit to the kingdom with a tour of the proposed site of the Nigerian Maritime University, located in Baramatu.
And from there, let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Linda Akigbe. Linda.
Hello, Ijoma.
Hey.
We begin with a promise by the federal government to ensure that the country's exchange rate is stabilized in 2017. This pledge was made by the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udo Udoma, during a meeting on the 2017 to 2019 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper with the Joint Committee of the House of Representatives. His counterpart in the Ministry of Finance, who is also part of the meeting, said there will be improvement in dollar supply this year. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi has this report.
Ministers and other head of agencies, my name is...
Members of the Joint Committee of the House of Representatives on the 2017 to 2019 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, meeting with the executive team led by the Minister of Budget and National Planning. The chairman of the Joint Committee makes it clear that the documents being considered must be ready as soon as possible.
We are already behind schedule because this MTEP should have been presented earlier than the time it was presented and considered earlier before this day.
After a short presentation by the minister, the lawmakers voiced their concern regarding the various exchange rates in the country and how it may increase inflation. The ministers then gave these assurances.
We hope to see a stability in the exchange rate in 2017, and we are working hard to achieve that.
The Minister of Finance adds that government must investigate to understand why people are buying up the dollar.
I believe that there's something of a speculative bubble that's going on. If someone bought dollars today at 450 and sells tomorrow at 490, you just think that's the newest game in town. But eventually it will collapse because it's not driven, that is the black market will collapse because it is not driven or supported by any fundamentals. None at all. It is just emotion.
She also seeks to address concerns raised regarding the implementation of the Treasury single account policy.
You or I should be able to walk into a bank and get hire purchase or get a loan on a car. They don't know how to credit score us because they never had to. So yes, taking away that business from them in the short term may look painful, but the long-term impact on the economy is going to be positive because we are now forcing them to go and do proper banking.
The agreements reached here will have implications for the 2017 budget proposal, which is before the National Assembly. A proposal both parties will focus on once these documents are passed by the National Assembly. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
to the judiciary. The trial of Justice Adeniyi Ademola opened at the FCT High Court today with the prosecution counsel lining up 14 witnesses to testify against him. The lead prosecution counsel, Mr. Segun Jegede, told the court that the witnesses included officials of the Department of State Services, Zenith and Guarantee Trust Banks who will testify in the case. Justice Adeniyi Ademola and his wife are standing trial over alleged bribery and illegal possession of firearms.
The court proceedings began with the prosecution giving his opening address on the evidence he intends to prosecute the case with. He told the court that he has lined up 14 witnesses against the accused person, apart from other evidence he planned to tender in court. After his opening address, the first witness, a sales consultant to Coscharis Motors in Lagos, testified to have received 8 million naira from Joe Agi Associate as payment for a BMW car. The prosecution applied to tender the invoice for the transaction, including an original certificate of ownership, to the court as part of its evidence, an application the court granted. The defense, however, opposed the request to admit a written statement of the witness to the Department of State Service as evidence before the court. After listening to arguments from both parties, the court adjourned to January the 17th to rule on the objection by the defense. Meanwhile, lawyers to the defense and prosecution have expressed satisfaction with the proceedings, describing it as a good start. The court has adjourned to January the 17th to rule on the objections raised and to allow for cross-examination of the witness.
Meanwhile, the Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja has ordered the Lagos State Commissioner of Police to keep a close watch on the Managing Director, Ontario Oil and Gas, Adoha Ugo Ndagi, who collapsed on Friday after she was convicted of a 744 million naira fuel subsidy scam. Presiding Judge Justice Latifa Okunu today ordered the medical directors of Havana Hospital, Sulere, and Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Luth, to both swear to an affidavit of means clearly stating the status of her health. At proceedings, counsel to Ndagi told the court that after she collapsed on Friday, she was rushed to Havana Hospital, where she was placed on life support and oxygen, and then transferred to Luth, where she is now receiving treatment. EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs, however, asked the court to pronounce the sentence in the absence of the convicts. In her ruling, Justice Okunu noted that there seems to be a lacuna in the law as to the sentencing of the convicts in absentia. She, however, reserved the sentencing till Wednesday, January the 18th, 2017. Ndagi, oil mogul Walter Wabasoma, and their company Ontario Oil and Gas were convicted by the courts for their roles in a 744 million naira subsidy fraud brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. And when the news at 10 returns, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, projects 0.8% growth for Nigeria by the end of 2017. Join us again.